I say cops, I look out the window and I see the red and blue lights. I'm like, fuck, boom. I can never be a signed artist. I don't know what you guys believe, but I believe in believing. Like, oh my God, I have it right here. Look, watch. And it just came to the point where I was like, no one's ever gonna fucking see me. I didn't know how to speak on my emotions. I didn't know how to speak to other people about what I was feeling. Hear me say some words that are pretty strong, some ideas that are stronger. Experiences that I had weren't initially just for me. You know, they were for you guys to learn from as well. Hey guys, my name is Mavin Kakkar, and this is the Gentle Giant podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you guys are having a blessed day. Let's just get straight into it. Today's episode is episode 1, so we're going to keep it straightforward and talk about why I called it the Gentle Giant podcast. The Gentle Giant is something that means a lot more to me. We're not going to put it at the word as entity, because it's not an entity. It's more of an energy that we're trying to bring into this kind of conversation, if you will say. The Gentle Giant, in my opinion, is like the Paul Bunyan, the super big guy who is too strong for his own good. You know, somebody who might be a little bit too emotionally strayed by his opinions and wants to speak out about them once or twice too much, or whatever it may be. You know, somebody who doesn't know how to hold his words to the best tongue. You know, I'm that person. I've been there before, and I know a lot of you guys probably do relate. But the Gentle Giant does esteem just the human experience of going through, you know, an emotional overload or being physically too big for your own body or whatever it is. The Gentle Giant, as you can see here, is an elephant. And the elephant is Ganesha to some extent. My parents are Hindu, Afghan Hindu to be exact. And it is a difference to some way and some way not, because all Hinduism is just a way of life. So either way, the Gentle Giant is some play of Ganesh, and Ganesh is supposed to be the god of luck, abundance, you know, prosperity, someone that my parents, my dad specifically, idolize as one of our main deities in the house. Me personally, I do hold other deities in high regard, and Ganesh isn't just the one that he's probably not even that high up in my totem pole, but the way that he has influenced my life is something that I can never, ever call like a bluff. Something that some people call coincidence, some people call magic, right? 6 years ago, I had got into my dad's store. My dad's a jeweler in New York City. Silver Mine Inc., if you ever want to stop by. And I got a ring that was elephants. And it was 2 silver bands, and the elephants had held themselves by trunk and tail. And it's funny, you know, elephant walk or whatever that is. But the story of it is, you know, the elephant is a very wise and well-knowing animal. It's always going to look over its young ones. It's always going to lead its tip by its tail. The elephant, you know, is very, very knowledgeable and, you know, strong-willed and strong-minded. But, as you may know, it's scared of a skinny little mouse. And that mouse is kind of what I place myself as in this role of Ganesh here in this conversation. I am just a mouse to him, wishing and showing him that I am grateful for the things that he's brought to me and my family. And this is the conversation where I get to bring those energies out, you know, those knowledgeable insights that I've seen in my life, you know, experienced in my life. And that's why we have the Gentle Giant podcast. So thank you guys for tuning in. This is going to be episode 1. And we're going to talk about my experiences with the elephant totem and how I feel connected to the Gentle Giant energy or entity, however you want to see it. Anyways, when I was super small as a boy, I was super tall. As you can see, I'm slouching now. Everything for a big guy is usually meant for smaller people, so that's why we slouch, you know? That's the reason why. But I'm like 6'2" on a good day when my back is like fully, you know what I mean? So I've always been, you know, to say bigger than my classmates, always felt like I was emotionally connected to some people because of the fact that I was outside of the normal spectrum of people, just because of my height. At one point, you know, my height gave me good insight of getting girls or whatever the heck that is, but whatever. It's stupid politics in the end of the day. Being tall meant I was different from everybody else, and that was the first step of it all. Next was my emotional body. my emotions were huge as a kid, especially my teenage years. I didn't know how to control my emotions. I didn't know how to speak on my emotions. I didn't know how to speak to other people about what I was feeling, or how to even communicate what they did to me, or how, whatever it was. When I was really, really young, second grade, I had a friend named Chris, and Chris thought that I dropped an Xbox 360 controller on the floor of my couch. I swear on anything that you want to swear on, like, myself included, that I have taken this Xbox 360 controller. Mind you, I have 4 controllers, so there's no way that this controller is going to compare. I put it down, just like this, on the floor, very nicely. 5 minutes into the game, he looks over, he says, "Why is my controller on the floor?" I said, "I put it down." He said, No, you threw it. I thought I heard you throw it." I said, "No." That, at one point, was the first time my emotions got too loud for my thing. We went in this back and forth, and I was figuratively pointed out as a liar for the first time in my life, honestly, that I was conscious of. And it just took me over emotionally. He had fully left me as my friend. He was probably my only best friend at the time, too, just to let you know. And he left me as my friend, and I completely found myself lost in despair and found myself like, whoa, where's these emotions going? Later in teenage years, you know, you have all those outcasts and stuff like that. I'll tell you a funny story. I was super, not even like flaccid, bro, but I was having so much fun in my own house. Had all my friends from high school over. It was like 11th grade, and my cousins were watching us, whatever, and we thought we heard the cops outside. Mind you, it's my house, and I'm like, oh shit, cops are outside. 2 of my best friends, the 2 of my closest friends at the time, were in my room. Everybody else is downstairs having a ball, whatever it is. My cousins are downstairs. I'm right by my room, and I say, "Cops." I look out the window, and I see the red and blue lights. I'm like, fuck. Boom, headbutt the freaking wall. There's a hole the size of my head into the wall. Like, my anger issues, whatever, the emotional body had gone its spectrum with relationships and everything like that. So being gentle is something I had to learn, especially with my words. If you know anything about me, I am a tarot reader. I love tarot. And the 4 elements in tarot is fire, water, air, and earth. Air being the element of intellect, communication, and this is something I have always strived to fail at. And that's the reason why I'm here at the Gentle Giant podcast. I have always held myself at a smaller level when it comes to communicating any of my ideas. A little bit about me was I was a music artist, or still am a music artist, but I find myself in a new title nowadays. So we'll get to that. But I found myself as a music artist, and I was always like chasing, you know, being something that everybody wants to be. All right, guys, sorry about that. Something happened with the scene outside. But I think I was saying something about where I was going with my music career. And realistically, with my music career, I had tried to speak my emotions and my ideas in a way that I thought was right, and the ways I thought were correct, you know, whatever may be entailed behind it, with or without it. And I found myself lost in the pursuit of something that I could never be in my head, because I can never be a signed artist. I'll tell you that now, like in the traditional way. Again, we'll get back to what I classify myself as now and why I will not classify myself as a music artist. So I found myself chasing this lifestyle, this goal that I've always wanted, because it was an escape of who I was and a way that I could finally communicate. Finally a way I could speak out the words and the ways that I was thinking about life and have people listen to me. You have to listen to me. I am a signed artist. I am in your music. I am in your ears 24/7. Even now, I feel that way to an extent, because this podcast is doing that, but it's not doing it all the way with that music. That music has a special place in my heart, and if you know me, it always will. So, going to it, I had found myself being behind the camera, behind the studio computer, doing every single job underneath the sun. Music manager, artist development, artist group, whatever the hell you want to call it, bro. I was doing content for anyone who would be willing to give me the time of day, because I thought in one way or another, if some person found me, that I'd be able to show them all the stuff that I've been creating, all the stuff that I've been holding in the vault, waiting to speak, like, oh my God, I have it right here, look, watch. And it just came to the point where I was like, no one's ever gonna fucking see me. They're just gonna keep using me and using me and using me, because that's what people will do, especially if you just sit on the wall. But if you're a fly on the wall, which I was, always. Even when I started with music, I was a fly on the wall. I learned everything about engineering through every single engineer I sat by. One was, his name was Fritz, awesome guy, love him to death, best guy on the planet. One was Matt, who did me wrong, but I still learned a lot of stuff from him. And one was Drew, who's one of my best friends now. And I just see myself learning constantly as being a fly on the wall. So now I get to use all those experiences. And the best way to explain it was, I was a giant, a terrifying, horrible giant, someone who did not know how to control their emotions, did not know how to control their will, their control their fire, water, air, or earth elements at all. And I found myself saying, wow, I need to transform. And if you know me, all of my artist names before were simultaneously different, but they all transpose one symbol that I communicated as me. And it was a butterfly with the skull, like the death skull engraved in it. And it was supposed to represent the death card in the tarot, because I was always transforming. Even now, I found myself transforming. We were talking about it, me and Hector, the one who's running this. Oh, shout out Smile Now Studio, by the way, for running this podcast for us. We were just talking about, how that happens, and you find yourself evolving constantly evolving. And people are so afraid to let go of who they were, this idea of who they wanted to be, that it just holds them back from evolving. So that's why we're here. I will never hold myself back from evolving again. I'm going to talk about everything I've seen underneath the sun as the gentle giant. You'll hear me say some words that are pretty strong, some ideas that are stronger. And I hope you guys understand that is a place where I want to find myself here as much as I want you guys to find yourself here, reflecting and thinking about times that you resonated with any of this. So for today, think about times that you were a little bit bigger than the scene around you, where you felt like they couldn't hold you, and because your energy was too big, just because the people around you weren't able to nurture the stuff that was going on inside you or in here or wherever it may be. And I want you to think about, how can you find a way to internalize that, to make yourself a gentle giant instead of a giant, a terrifying one. Because that's the whole goal of life, is to take your emotions, take these thoughts that are freaking strong, high-willed, high-powered, even the stuff that you find in school or whatever it is, and make them a little bit more refined for the people around you to take in and understand, which I'm trying to do here, and that they can spark their own ideas and own intuition or whatever, and go on to their own journey. Will it be anything close to mine or anything reflective of mine? I don't know, and I hope to find out to an extent. I love when you guys contact me and tell me you guys are doing this or whatever. But I just find myself always thinking that we can always find a place together, and I hope this place, the Gentle Giant, is that place where we could talk about those experiences. We did talk about Ganesha, and I do want to go back into Ganesha a little bit. I did say I'm a tarot reader, and if you guys can see this, I'll zoom in later and but yeah, there you go. Thank you, Hector. This is a mouse deck right here, and that's the mouse that we are. So in accordance to this, I also don't know where we're at timing wise, but we're just gonna keep going. I want to do a little reading about how this podcast is gonna go. Let's see what Spirit got to say, or Ganesh himself. So, we are gonna go flying blazing, which we are. We have the first 8 episodes scheduled. Actually, in the sense of everything schedule wise, I have the first season of Gentle Giant scheduled out. We're gonna take big leaps. Things that are going to be said are going to be crazy on this podcast. I promise you that. Experiences that I have that are unworldly, not unworthy, unworldly. This journey is going to send me flying. It's going to send you flying. It's going to send us in a spiral of thoughts and make us think that everything that we've done, everything that we have in this world, materialistic, idealistic, family, relationship-wise, it hasn't meant anything. The tower. This is when everything around us follows after those realizations. Literally, the world, you always heard manifestation as below, so above, inside world is always going to reflect the outside world. So when your inside world finally realizes, shit, this isn't even what I want, my world isn't what I want, your outside world will reflect that. And Trust me, it will reflect that. I'm telling you from personal experience. And Queen of Pentacles, we are balling. We are always going to be balling. We're going to stand in our power. Financially and materialistically, this podcast is going to go far. And as you see, I shuffle these cards right with you guys here. I talked about them. You could search up the cards. You know, I might not have the specific definitions of them perfectly tatted out, but I am an intuitive reader. Again, Tarot by MKX if you want a reading. But yeah, that is what we have for the Gentle Giant podcast. Hector, what time are we at again? My fault. 16 minutes. Oh, my friends, we can have a little bit more conversations about some times that I felt a little giant. Then that I really couldn't hold myself back from being a little bit more than I was in the time being. Relationships with your parents. And I know a lot of teenagers go through this, okay? Where you feel like you can't communicate to your parents because they're not going to understand the ideas and ideals that you might have at the time. And parents, I want you to understand that, yes, I know you are wiser. You have spent more time and more experience on this planet, and my experiences really don't accumulate to the amount of experiences you have. But I just want to give your mind this thought, both of you guys. If at the time that you're born, you have a very susceptible mind, almost 100% susceptible, to the point where when you're a 2-year-old, your ego starts to develop, and your parents or the society around you, your environment around you, your teachers, the ones who make up the person who you are. That's what your ego is, correct? So realistically, when you're getting to this point of becoming 2 years old and you're 100% susceptible, and you have these experiences that some people will say are traumatic, or some people will say are potent, and you'll find out in my later episodes, as near-death experiences might be very, very heavy in those, moments of like, oh my God, I see the world differently. Like, mom and dad, do you see what I'm seeing? And most of the time you don't, because those traumatic experiences make them see a side of life that is actually reflective of your parents or of you, right? I don't know who I'm talking to here, the parents or the child, right? My fault. Realistically, I just want you guys to understand that a child's mind is so susceptible to the ideas of where life might take them. A traumatic experience can affect them to the point where they have no idea how far that expansion of that mind will go. I'll give you a very, very small example. When my sister was born, and this is such a stupid example, my sister was born, I was like 5 years old. She was a baby, and my mom calls me from the other room. We're right across the hallway, and she goes, "Hey, Mavin, can you get me a bottle of milk for your sister?" And initially in my mind, it goes, she only had me to take care of Gia. She only had me to take care of my little sister. And there was this immediate traumatic experience that happened there. It was like a flip of the switch for me, where my sister and me were at two opposites, where these polarities had occurred. And I had seen, every sibling runs their little rivalry, right? But I had seen this rivalry, this small moment where Gia hadn't even developed the ego. I was developing ego, and that part of that ego was pretty messed up, something that I had to learn through. And, right now I'm still not the closest to my sister because of the fact that I had done some things, not like crazy things, but like I had done some things where it had traumatized her the same way that she had done things that traumatized me. I can speak on one thing because it's a lot funnier than a lot of the other things in scene case. We were playing hide and seek or whatever it was, and I finally had found her. And she said, no, it's not fair. You didn't count. I was like, whatever. And she grabs a knife. Like, I'm telling you, a steak knife, bro. She runs. She chases me all the way upstairs. I run to my room, close the door, lock the door. And I'm looking underneath the door. And I'm like, G, are you there? I can't see you. And boom, knife comes underneath the little slit. And it was just one of those things where it's like, as kids, you never realize how big those experiences and traumas like build up on each other. But they do, man. And, it's something where even to yourself, you have to learn to be more gentle. I'm learning to be more gentle with myself and understand that certain concepts and ideas that I had or, experiences that I had weren't initially just for me. They were for you guys to learn from as well. I do accept my role as a beacon from the universe. I don't know what you guys believe, but I believe in believing. That's literally the best way to explain it. I believe in believing. If you believe that there's something there behind your words that are making you better as a person and making you have a more joyful and happy life, I support it. And that's just the truth behind it. I will not lie to you guys. I've seen some crazy stuff, and we're gonna talk about that and give you a glimpse. Episode 3, we're talking about an experience I had on mushrooms, psilocybin, and I saw some entities that are connected to my religion, and experience that was connected with my family being right there, bro. Like, I can't deny certain levels of entity involvement, you know, and there's been certain things that I've been coming on to now that have been making me feel, you know, not differently, but so much more inclined to research more than I have been before. And it's going very hand in hand on where we're at now. And I'm just really excited for this Gentle Giant podcast. The only things I want you guys to think about going forward from this podcast is, one, when have been times where you felt like you've been too big for your own body or the environment around you? 2, in what ways have you let luck and abundance be a way of an escape than a natural flow that comes to you? And the reason I bring that up is because of Ganesha and who the Gentle Giant is. And 3, I want you guys to think about how you can become more gentle in your everyday life, whether you become better with your emotions and learning how to control them and maybe not act out so fast and rash in those emotions, or maybe your words even becoming more intellectually well-spoken with your vocation or vocabulary, you know. I really want you guys to take those concepts to the next level over the next week, and I hope to see you guys there. Episode 2 of Gentle Giant Podcast. I'm Mavin Kakkar. I am the alchemist of sound and self. Thank you guys very much.